100%, like you said, I think as a fighter and as anyone that have gone through what I've gone through, you have to be physically, but mainly mentally strong, which for me was making change and being the first ever refugee to win a medal for.
A very warm welcome to all the viewers of Michael and Oneindia. Well, in the world of sports, at the Olympics, we are used to seeing athletes representing their respective countries and the fans as well supporting and encouraging their respective athletes from their countries. However, a few athletes do not have the luxury of representing their respective countries for different reasons. Thus was formed the Olympic Refugee Team that was formed in 2016 Rio Olympics. And we have with us today a guest, a boxer, who has now become the first medal winner representing the Olympic Refugee Team when she won the bronze medal in boxing at the Paris Olympics 2024. Welcome to our show, Cindy Nigamba. Thank you so much for coming in. It's such an honor and privilege to host you today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate your time.
Right. So, Cindy, what a journey it has been for you. Born and raised in Cameroon, and then moved to UK at the age of 11. Then you really started working hard on your boxing. And of course, at the age of 18, when you actually announced that you're kind of gay and couldn't go back to Cameroon because of legal, procedures out there. But that only, made your resolve stronger. And that's why, you represented the Olympic refugee team. And now, yes, you are a medal winner. And it's all for all of us to see as to what a great champion you are. So I guess apart from, of course, being a supreme athlete, physically, you're very strong, of course. But I guess mentally also as an individual, you're quite strong. You have to be strong outside the ring as well to come out of this struggle and be what you are right now, right?
100%, like you said, I think as a fighter and as anyone that have gone through what I've gone through, you have to be physically, but mainly mentally strong. You have to kind of have that mindset of if you've gone through like the worst situation when it comes to like pressure moment or moment when you're in front of thousands of non-people that you never seen before, or you have that pressure of having to kind of make change, which for me was making change and being the first ever refugee to win a medal for. Life has not been easy with my paper situation and just with life in general. And I was an asylum seeker and I didn't have the papers, and then I got my refugee status and I was able to kind of go and get what I wanted in life and just achieve my goals, which my goals ever since I started boxing was to go to Olympic and win a medal and become the best of the best and face the best of the best as much as I could.
True, absolutely. And I mean, what a unique situation it was for you, and to be representing a refugee Olympic refugee team. Everybody has got a different struggle. For example, you have to call somebody like a Manisha Talash from Afghanistan, right? Who was a break dancer representing your refugee team. And she actually had to run away from Afghanistan because of the Taliban regime not allowing as basic as dancing itself. Forget about representing the country in break dancing. So likewise, you've got so many other stories. So how was the entire experience like? Because on one hand, you're not representing a country, but then I guess the entire bonding would have been very strong, right? Because you all have come out through some struggle or the other, and then you supporting each other, even though you are actually from different countries, maybe at the same time.
Yeah, the bonding was extreme. It was unique, and it was unthinkable. Not the type of it's not unthinkable in a way of like something that you will have never, you will have never thought. Yeah, that's what I'm going to experience. So for me, mainly having to meet all the refugee athletes before going into the village in the Olympic was amazing. We all have different stories. We all have different achievement, and some of them have gone through the worst thing compared to me. But I think one thing that brought us all together is that we were representing the refugee team, and also we were very supportive, and we were just happy to be there. But also we were more happy on embracing refugees all around the world. Some of them have flew their country, some of them might have got killed, some of the family more have got killed with them too. Some of them have to leave their home and their town or their family and their friend. Some of them didn't even have their parents where they had moved originally in. So you got to kind of sit back and just speak to some of them and just understand their stories and just deep how, how bad they had it. And I think sometimes people kind of look at refugees and they just think refugees are just here to take over. They know that they don't want to work hard and etc. And I'm thinking, you never know. These people have gone to so many barriers and so many horrible things, but they always have a smile on their face and they're always smiling and they're just happy about life in general.
Now, talking about the Olympics, the big glory, of course, for you and for, of course, for all of us as well. So going to the Olympics, how is the preparation like? Because like you rightly mentioned, like we all know, life in itself was tough. Forget about training, going through all the legal procedures here and there. So how was your preparation overall? Of course, maybe one good thing was that coming from UK to France, maybe the altitudes, something like that, the conditions were kind of suiting you, also travel time, stuff like that. But apart from that, the rest was, I guess, would have been quite difficult, right? Going into the Olympics, training, and how did you actually, prepare yourself at the camps? How was it like?
It was a bit hard, of course. The Olympic was a bit hard in as being a refugee because there is some competition I couldn't go to because I couldn't get visa or the country will not allow me into it. And there was some training camp that I had to make sure that I am in it because all the people that had already qualified for the Olympic, I had to make sure that I go to the training camp that they were going so that I can kind of test myself in training. So that I know what I have to be careful of when it comes to actually the Olympic, depending on if when they do the draw and I draw against them and I face them in the Olympics. So it was a bit harder for me. And I had to go to London a couple of times to apply for visa. It wasn't easy. And, moment where you just want to rest and you want to recover, I have to make a travel to London and getting on the train. And that itself was like 5 hours back, 5 hours. It took a drain on me. But like I said, like we spoken at the beginning, you have to be mentally very strong, and you have to kind of understand that this is my life, this is my situation, and I have to make the best out of it, and I have to appreciate the little things. So my way of seeing it was like, listen, I get to go to Olympic because I qualified in Milan in April. I qualified for the Olympics, so even though I was chosen, but I qualified. I've actually earned my spot to go to Olympic. So I knew that I qualified for the Olympic. I just have to do this little bit to kind of go through the process of achieving my dream, which was to win the medal at the Olympic. And I'm sure all the other refugee athletes will have gone through the same situation as me. Some of them were living in Canada, Germany, Sweden, and I'm sure they must have had to apply for visa. And the refugee communities, the refugee organization must have had to apply for visa for them because refugees any refugees that goes to Paris need a visa. So you kind of have to apply, and also you have to make sure that the visa that you have got, is it extended or is it a short visa? Because you have to make sure. And then when you apply for long visa, it takes longer time.
Yes,
it takes longer time. They're going to ask you, why are you going to that country for that long time? Why are you going to do that? So you have to give them as many evidence to why you're staying for that long. And so it's not easy, man. It's not easy. There's a lot of work that goes into it. People only see me on stage and they just think, but they don't see the back,
the behind
the
the
back,
scenes, before the fight
yeah,
actually, and there's a big fight before the big fight. Take us through that quarterfinal bout against the French women, and how was those rounds going by? Going to the bout, how were you feeling, and just take us through. And of course, how was the feeling to be really knowing that okay, you are at least going to win a bronze?
Listen, I think the hardest bout was the Canadian one, my first bout. That was like kind of like the hardest one because she was number one and she was the one that was guaranteed gold. Everyone believed that she was going to win gold and she was going to be the number one. I'm at 75 kg, which is middleweight. So for me to have beaten her, it was kind of like it gave me confidence in myself and having to understand how good I am and how skillful I am. So going into the French girl, and I knew that she had all the crowd because I was in her land, I was in France, and
Oh yeah,
people
she's a local girl. Yeah.
people be cheering for her and people be booing for me. But you kind of have to have that mindset when you get to like an elite athlete level and not really, have focusing too much on what or the crowd or etc. I just stayed on my job and I mind on my job and I listened to my team. I had a great team, my coaches. We prepared. We watched a bit of videos of what her style and what she does, and we came up with that technique on how I can beat her. And I listened to my corner and I won every round. I won every judge went with me for every round. So I felt very good. I felt like I could take the world. Going into that fight, I knew that whatever she bring to the table, I'd be able to overcome it. And I worked hard for it, man. Let's just think about it before the build-up of the Olympic. I worked my ass off. I trained very, very hard. I took myself to the deep end. to the deep end where I had nothing left. So going to the Olympic, I knew that none of my opponent would be able to bring me to that moment, to that deep end. So I was already ready.
True. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. And finally made it.
Exactly. I made it, man.
You made it big. You represent something as expressive as sports, and that too in boxing, right? And we live in a society which is quite divided in terms of gender equality, diversity, stuff like that. But over the, say, past 8, 10 years, now you, of course, I guess 25 years?
26.
26, yeah. So anyway, you have not seen enough of the world as of yet, but still, for the past 8, 10 years since you have really started boxing, of course, you have started boxing before that. So do you think the world is more accepting now in terms of sports? Because sports is something that you just can't hide. I mean, you really have to express, right? I mean, it's you have to go out and fight. So how do you see it in terms of gender equality, diversity, whatever you talk on those lines?
Well, I think all those key things mainly have a long way to go. But if you look at back in 10 years, as you said,
Yeah.
it's better than what it was.
Mm.
But it's not as better as what we would have wanted. You gotta understand that we're living in a world where, everyone's always gonna have an opinion, and
Yeah.
there's always gonna be like a old fashioned way.
Yeah.
And to be able to change the old fashioned way is gonna
Yeah.
take time. And I think a lot of people also need to be educated. I think people just listen to see certain things and they just judge it straight away. There's a saying when people say you judge a book by its cover, but you never actually read the
True.
book.
Yes. You don't read the
People
book.
just,
Yeah.
people don't read the book. I think automatically people look at certain people, or they look at certain story, or they look at all them key things, like you said, about diversity, ethnicity, and etc. etc. They just judge it straight away from their old ways of thinking, what they've been educated, what they've been trained to think. And sometimes, when people actually take the time to educate themselves, or they do their background research, they actually gasp because they think, oh wow, okay, I didn't think it was that way. I didn't think it was this way. Oh wow, this has actually changed my mind. This has actually opened my mindset on things. But yeah, the key thing I would say is people just need to be educated. And I think we have a long way to go. And I think but we just have to appreciate what we have at the moment. We do, even though some people that will find they think nothing has changed. You have to appreciate it. We're living in a world where, people, everything is so busy, and people will always have things to say. Whether you do bad or whether you do good, or whether things are changing or not, that's us human. We as human will never fully be at peace with certain things. But yeah, for me, having gone to Olympic and done what I've done, I've kind of felt like I've proved to people all around the world that refugees are not just going to Olympic, or refugees are not just fleeing their country or going to other country just to be lazy or just take over certain things. No, refugees are human. Just with their hard worker, they work their ass off. They want a better future, better life. They've gone through the worst thing, but somehow they always, keep their chin held high, and they always keep on pushing. And that just showed with me for what I've gone through from arriving in the UK when I was 11 years old, and having to go through so many things about my paper situation and sexuality, and having to adapt into a new lifestyle. That was hard. It wasn't easy, but I didn't let that get the best of me. I kept going for what my goals and my dream, and I achieved it. And I'm sure in the future I'll be able to achieve more things.
Now, talking about, of course, you are in the sphere of amateur boxing, Olympics, so to say. The general perception is that there's not much of money involved in amateur boxing because, of course, when you win, the government aids you, stuff like that. That's really, of course, happens. But unlike professional boxing, there isn't much money in amateur boxing. Do you sometimes, does it cross your mind, sometimes that, okay, you'll also maybe end up as a professional boxer? Because we have seen a lot of amateur boxers, right from Muhammad Ali to Floyd Mayweather. They started in amateur boxing in Olympics, they won medals there, and then end up as professional boxers. Do you see that happening? Maybe, at some corner of your head, okay, that could happen kind of thing?
Yeah, man, I think, it could happen. For me, mainly, when I first started boxing, I started boxing just because it was a new sport and I found it very hard. And something about me is when I found something hard, I would try to get better as I can to my best ability. No matter how it is, I will always try. And I fell in love with it. And I kind of understood that, I think I'm actually skillful here. I can go a bit further, in life with it. And I want to have this amount of fight, this amount of championship. And then when you win every championship, okay, I want to go internationally and compete. I want to go to them big tournament internationally. And then when you do that, you set yourself, okay, the big goal is the Olympic. And then as a boxer, when you train so many years to get to that, that big goal, which is the Olympic, you finish and you're like, okay, I've achieved the goals that I wanted to. Then you set yourself next goal, which is some people will want to stay for the next cycle of the Olympic, and some people will maybe, I don't know, go and think, okay, I want to go to university or college and study. And I've gone to the Olympic and I won a medal. Now I want to turn pro and see what, and put my tests, put my skills into test with the pro style. And you never know what the future holds. Or you can always, what you can do is just set yourself goals and just go and get it. The world, my mom has this thing where she has always told me, the world is your oyster. If you feel like you want to try something out, go and try it. No one's going to stop you. The only one's going to stop you is you. You're in charge of your life. So I'm in charge of my life. If I want to turn pro, I'm going to try it out and see how it goes, and I'm going to, and I feel like I'm actually very good, and I feel like I have all the skills needed to turn pro. So I'm going to try it out. And if it doesn't work out, then I choose something else.
Right. You're just staying in a moment, you're going through the process, you're giving it all. That's it, right? And now asking about your training schedule, how typically, how does your training goes by? Of course, when a tournament comes by, you'll train more. Maybe, I mean, you space it up. But generally, what's your training schedule like? On a typical day when you're in a training kind of?
So my typical training in a day, I mean, if you go in a week, is I train 3 times a day. I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. I do a bit of stretch, and then I get ready to go on the track running. We do sprint, and we do long distance. Just more explosive running, not explosive running, because I think my style I'm more of like explosive boxer. So we do explosive long short run, but like we do 3 minute 3 threes. So how fast can you run? How many laps can you do in 3 minutes, basically? And then my second session is usually pads. And my boxing session, I usually it depends on what I do. For pads, we usually do 1 hour on the pad, and then my evening session, my last session of the day is sparring, which I might do it about 1 hour and a half, depending on I spar, and then I go on the bag, and then I shadow box, and then I just I stretch and I go on the sauna. I just recover. But I train about when I'm getting ready for a fight. I train about 6 times a week and 3 times a day. I live and breathe it, man. You live and breathe it. Boxing is a very hard sport, so you have to make sure you have to make sure you're well conditioned. And I have about two I lift weight about twice every week.
Oh, okay, right.
Lift weight is training condition. I do training condition on Wednesdays and Mondays.
Yeah, I mean, boxing is also not only about hitting, right? It's also about getting punched, right?
Because I think some people sometimes watch boxing, they're like, how come someone hit you and you're okay with it? But I think because you can't understand that we condition our body.
So, Cindy, can you have a few rapid fire rounds now?
What does that mean?
It means I'll ask you a few questions and then you just have to answer quickly.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
Yeah. Your dream bout, a dream bout between two boxers that you always wanted to see, but somehow didn't happen. Which will be that? It could be from different generation as well,
It has to be the two people that have inspired me from the very beginning when I started boxing, Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson.
Oh yeah, same with me.
Those are the best. Those are the GOAT.
Right. And who do you think will win that bout?
Ooh.
And why?
Muhammad Ali, because he just floats like butterfly.
Because of the movement, I guess. Yeah.
He just flows.
But
he moves so well.
If Mike Tyson just gets his uppercut, maybe.
He's just so smooth. Even when he has a good chin though, even when he gets hit,
actually,
he still keeps on going. I love him.
Maybe he'll take that.
And I like his mindset and his attitude, the way he presented himself outside boxing too.
Best friend that you have made from your Olympic refugee team?
The best friend that I made from the refugee team will have to be one of the staff member, Gonzalo. I think it's called Gonzalo. He's been the one that took me in the refugee team and and helped me to sort out the application. So and I'm still with him from this day.
It's still combat sport, but it's to do with Cameroon, Francis Ngannou. who happens to be one of my favorite UFC fighters. I mean, of course, now he's not in UFC, he's with the PFL, but still, yeah. One of my dream, one of our dream bouts happens to be, that has not yet happened, is between Francis Ngannou and John Jones. Who do you think will, I mean, again, you have to think very unbiasedly, because if you think, okay, he's Cameroonian, and then that's why I'm going with Francis. Then.
Man, John, I love John Joe. I do love John Joe so much, and
Yeah.
I have to support my people. I have to go with
Right.
Francis Ngannou. I can't, man.
You're going Francis, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right. If tomorrow, a hypothetical situation, if tomorrow you become the PM of the Prime Minister or the President of Cameroon, you're the head of the state basically for Cameroon. One thing that you would like to change Cameroon, to make it, of course, it's a beautiful country, to make it better, so to say. What would you do? One thing.
I will listen to the people. I will listen to the people. The people. I will listen to their voice and their opinion on what they feel like needs change.
Yeah. Right.
Because I think the population that actually live in that country are the ones that are well knowledge, instead of just going about and deciding what you think is best. So, but that's what I think.
Okay. Right. I don't think it's a rapid fire question. It shouldn't be a rapid fire question. It'll come very automatically for you. Which is your favorite boxing combo? And if you could also show it to us for our viewers.
My favorite combo is jab. It's the jab.
Okay.
So it's not. So I like it when you rotate. You rotate all the way out. Rotate all the way jab. You can just win a fight with just the jab.
So that also helps you in keeping distance, right? The jab.
Yes, it does. It does, and it makes it simple for you. And it makes you measure your opponent. If you find someone,
distance management also, yes.
If you find someone and you're always popping a jab on the face, that's annoying. You don't use the most simple things in boxing. Just jab. Yeah, if you watch Muhammad Ali, that's all he did. He just danced jab. Jab, double the jab.
Your favorite cheat food? I'm sure you of course have to maintain a good diet, but your favorite cheat food that you often do, maybe which your coach also doesn't know, maybe at times.
Well, my favorite cheat food, I don't really call it a cheat food. I think it's like a Cameroonian food. It's kondole. It's like legume mixed with peanut butter, and it's like a proper African food from Cameroon. It's very nice. I can eat it all day.
Yeah. Okay.
You eat it with like rice. Or with couscous, but it's nice.
Wow, great. Thank you so much, Cindy, for joining us. It's been such a privilege to have you with us. Like for every journey, there is a torchbearer. You're definitely a torchbearer by winning the medal, representing the Olympic refugee team. You have only showed the athletes to come by that anything is possible in life, no matter how tough it is. I mean, you can only get tougher, with tougher times, and you really showed to everyone around, that no matter how difficult life is, you can still make a good life out of it, and you have already made a great life out of it, out of yourself, right? And please keep on doing your great stuff that you've been doing. Keep on shining, and there's more better things, greater things to come by, I'm sure. And we'll definitely, keep a close watch to all your fights, to all your coming bouts. And yes, thank you so much for coming in, and all the best.
Thank you very much for having me. Take care.
Thanks, Cindy. Thank you so much. Thanks. Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Don't miss out. Log on to oneindia.com for more updates.